In this video, I'm going to go through some of my favourite photos from 2020 and explain why I like those images in particular. What's up YouTube, and welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys had a really good Christmas. I know I took a week off posting just so I can spend that time with my family. This is going to be my last video of 2020, and I thought instead of going ahead with what I had planned, I'm going to do something a little bit different just to kind of top off the year that is 2020 with something a little bit more fun, a little bit more casual, and something that gives us a bit of a boost in confidence when it comes to our photography. 2020 has been a pretty bad year for most of us, not necessarily in anything other than the fact that we've all been locked inside. I know here in Scotland we've been in lockdown since about March. Oh, email, just turn that off. I know here in Scotland we've been in lockdown since about March, and it's changed slightly, but it always goes back again. I think we're back down in full lockdown now. So to end what's been quite a difficult year, I thought I'd go through some of my favourite photos I've taken this year while being in lockdown and explain exactly why I like these particular images. This is something we don't really do often as photographers. We spend a lot of time looking at our images and thinking about what we don't like or what we would like to improve in our images, which is still really, really important, but it's just as important sometimes to look through and decide exactly what you do like in your images and what you maybe want to keep doing in all of your other images. I just want to say that I'm not saying that any of these photos are perfect. There is things I would now change. It's still important to see what we do like in our images. Let me just get the first image up. So this first image is a shot of a burger. One of the main reasons I picked this image is because it's a big improvement on the time before this I tried to shoot a burger. If you've ever gone ahead and shot a burger, you're going to understand how hard it can be sometimes. There's a lot you need to get right, like the lettuce needs to be quite crisp, the cheese needs to be nice and melty, and it doesn't stay looking very perfect for long. You've got a few seconds, like maximum a minute, until it all starts to just bleh. So when I had my first shot of shooting a burger, I'll put that one here for reference. It was okay, but I knew I could do better. So not long after it, I shot this photo, which I think was such a big improvement on the first image. It's in my top images for 2020. Another thing I really like about this image is right onto the left hand side of the picture, that sauce dripping down. It was just, that picture was just captured just before it splashed, and I think that timing makes that picture so much better. I also really like the lighting on this image, the way the light's shining just on that shiny gherkin and onion, just to give that really nice bright specular highlight there, which really draws your eye into the front of the burger. I also really like that meltiness of the cheese, which makes you just want to bite in and really tasty burger. Not always the easiest things to shoot, so as soon as you try to shoot a burger, you'll appreciate every single burger picture you see, because they're really not the easiest things to photograph. So I'm going to move on to my second picture now, and this one here is just some picture of some oranges. It sounds so simple, but that's one of the things I really like about this picture. I was feeling a bit blur, didn't have much inspiration, so I just went to the shop, grabbed some oranges, just thought, with that one subject, what can I take? And sometimes that's a really fun way of just kind of getting your creative juices flowing to try and make a really interesting picture out of a very not interesting subject. I was playing about with some moody lighting for this picture just to kind of figure out how best to shoot them. And I really like how directional that light is, so it's kind of like a spotlight on that one main orange, and it's just chopped in half, and you can see all of this really bright specular highlights, just that light reflecting right off the juice of that orange, and I think it makes it look really juicy, like you could just bite into it and it'll be nice and juicy. Another thing I really like about this image is I've taken the oranges and I've chopped them in different ways all over the place, which adds a lot of interest for just one subject. So I've got them whole, I've got them chopped in half, I've got them chopped into little slices, and I've even got some of the peel and made a swirl. That's a lot of different interests. There's a lot of elements going on there, but it's not distracting because it's still just that one subject. So another thing I like about the lighting in this picture is it's coming slightly from the back, and what that's done is it's made the texture of the background really stand out, which I think looks really good in this picture because it's such a soft, smooth subject. The roughness of the background really adds interest to this image. So this third image I've picked for my favourite images in 2020 is quite different to the other two, so quite colourful but dark and moody at the same time. This one is very bright but also very monochrome. What I like about this image is how so close to black and white it is. You don't often see black and white food photography because a big part of food is the colour it has. Everything's either green or red or orange. This is nearly a black and white picture, but not because I've put it into black and white, because the subject is so monochromatic. It's Oreo donuts. If I added a whack of colour into this, it would have looked bizarre. It would have distracted completely away from the subject. So I went with a background that's very similar to the donuts, and I think that adds a really arty, graphic look to the picture, which I really like. Another thing with this picture is I've lit it from the back again, so it's kind of got that nice texture and all of the Oreo crumbs and that half Oreo in the right hand side of it. It brings a lot of that texture out, which you notice a lot on Oreos, and I think without it being shot like that, you would lose a lot of that texture, which wouldn't really say Oreos to me, like crumbly cookies. Another thing about this image that I think gives it a lot of interest is it's really nearly repetitive. If it was just the 3 donuts, it would be very repetitive. It still looked really good, but taking a big bite out of that one, it adds a lot of interest right into the middle of the picture, and I think that helps you look at the very middle of the picture. It also tells a bit more of a story, like there's been 3 donuts lined up perfectly and someone's just going to take a big bite out of one. I mean, they were very tasty. That's maybe another reason why this is one of my favourites. Okay, so this is my 4th favourite image, and this is one that I did for the channel just a few weeks ago. I really like this image because I love how homely it feels. It's quite dark and moody, but the subject is still really bright. It just makes me feel warm and cozy, and I think that adds a lot with the Christmas lights as well. It's really obviously a Christmassy photo with the snowflake on the mince pie and the lights in the background, but it's not so cheesy obvious, like big red baubles or tinsel, or really overdone, so it still has that kind of luxury, warm, homely feel to it. I think this kind of feeling helps tell a story. It evokes emotion when you look at it. I could just imagine being sat at Christmas time in front of a fire, taking a big bite out of one of these mince pies, which I think is really important with photography, is trying to tell that story with the image. Every single person that looks at your image is going to get a completely different idea of what story it tells, but telling that story in the first place is the main step to creating some really good food photography. Another thing I like about this image is how the plates are stacked and there's loads of mince pies in the background as well, which gives a really good suggestion of these are being served up, which again is adding to that story factor. And it's a big important factor with Christmas, is sharing and family. And unfortunately that's not something any of us have really had the chance to celebrate this year at Christmas. So it's just kind of that nod to being nice family Christmases. Okay, so that's my 4 favourite images of 2020, and like I said earlier, these pictures are definitely not perfect. None of my photography I would say is perfect. I don't think there's many pictures ever taken that have nothing to change. Something I wouldn't change or I would change, some of you guys would want to change or would not want to change. Everybody's different. We all have different ideas of what is a really good picture. What I'm trying to get at with this video is how we can look at our own images and take in what we do like about our pictures. I know it's important to always work to improve your photography, but it's just as important to look at our pictures and decide what we really like in our own photography. What do we do really well? Because that's where you're going to find your niche. That's where you're going to find what makes you as a photographer different from everybody else. Looking back at my pictures, I take a lot of light in area photos, But looking back at my favourite images, I think I'm more drawn towards the dark, moody images because most of the pictures I picked as my favourite pictures were quite dark and quite moody. And just remember, we've not had many positive things come out of this year. So taking a look at your images and thinking positively on them is a really good way to brighten up the end of our, let's be honest, pretty dire 2020. I hope this has given you some ideas of how you could judge your images more positively, and I hope you all decided to have a look at your images, pick a few favourites and tell everybody what you like most about them. If anybody does want to create this as a story or an Instagram post, I'd love to see what you've got to say about your images. So tag me at amphotographeruk and I'll definitely have a look at what you share. That is all for this video, guys. I wanted to kind of keep it a bit more casual than my normal step-by-step tutorials, and I just want us all to take a look at our images and look at them in a really good light. So next week's video will be the Bailey's hot chocolate that was meant to be up, and that's going to be the last image in the Christmas series that I did. I've got so many more great videos planned for 2021, but if there's something you'd like me to cover, let me know in the comments below and I'll definitely get around to either answering your comment or making a video about it if you want. So give this video a thumbs up, guys, and if you're interested in more photography content, definitely click subscribe because there's always more videos coming. So thank you, guys. I hope you have a great new year. I know we can't be celebrating with friends or family this year, but I hope you have a great new year, guys, and I'll see you in 2021. Bye!